Well, hello to you all out there in, oh gosh, what did Barney call it? Euroland. Yes, welcome to Euroland, where it's all about Leopardstown and the Dublin Racing Festival. That's been a brilliant inception since it first staged here in 2018. And if it ever stops raining, what a great weekend is in store. So really, it's all up to the Saturday morning inspection. Anyway, here goes. Now then, Jaysella is also waiting on the stewards at Sandown Park, but we'll get over to her in a bit. First up, it's always a tricky one to get things going here at Leopardstown, but I do think Dr. Steinberg is a good favourite. Now then, Jaysella was telling me this week that I need my head examining if I'm not on Dr. Steinberg, but I think the wee lass is just having me on, given the fictional character references. I'm not sure I need a shrink yet, but do get in touch if you disagree. However, I do think over this trip stamina is going to be an issue with all the rain on the hurdles track, so that puts a question mark over the mud-loving St. Sosbeer, so it could be stablemate Kazansky that forces Dr. Steinberg into a battle. For all that, Kazansky was all out to win at Limerick the last day and could go close, but Dr. Steinberg gets my vote. In the handicap hurdle, I'll take the chance that Gordon Elliott's Staffordshire Knot can cope with the top weight to win this. He ran a super race to come second to Joseph O'Brien's Home by the Lee in the Galmoy Hurdle the last day, and this looks less competitive than that Grade 2, though luck in running is obviously the order of the day in these big field handicaps. But Staffordshire Knot is full of class at this level, so I'll take my each-way chance on him with Carl Miller's £5 claim, making this a valid chance. Fingers crossed. And now let me get you over to Jaysella at Sandown Park, where she is going for a repeat win in the Scilly Isles.
Thank you, Caroline. And yes, I do hope that Sandown Park passes the morning inspection, though more than a couple of hours of the heavy stuff, and I'd worry it can't go ahead at all. But while all the attention is going to be on Leopardstown, don't forget that the Scilly Isles is the feature at Sandown Park. We got the winner last year by going against the favourite Django Bay, holding that Ben Pauling's handstands would win on that heavy ground. Got that one right, so here we go again. And this time, it's Gordon Elliott's Carla Conti that we think can upset the jolly Willie Mullins Kitzbühel. When I say we, that's because Caroline has had me take a watching brief on Carla Conti this winter, and she thinks that Gordon Elliott's progressive mare has been laid out for this race. In receipt of £7 from Kitzbühel on this deep ground, I'll take Carla Conti to do the business. And next up, in the Premier Handicap, I'll have last year's runner-up Henri II to become Henri I this time around. Joking aside, he's only £2 higher than when second to Red Dirt Road last year, and given his liking for Sandown Park, Henri II has to be the one to beat. Outpaced when last seen here 4 weeks back over 2.5 miles, this step back in trip should be just the thing. Joe Tizard's Hartington has to be a big danger, and probably will be fine on this ground, while last year's winner, Red Dirt Road, returns from a long layoff, so if he tries to make the pace again, could lack race fitness. Henri II to go one better than in 2025, with Hartington keeping him honest. And now, let's get back to all the action at Leopardstown.
Why, thank you, Jaysella, and my Saturday nap will be in the feature, the Gold Cup, where Galloping Day Champ it is for me to make it a 4th win in as many years in this race. I'm telling Yuz this is his race, his time of year, and I cannot believe the price that I got on him this week. I'm of the opinion that this is the biggest mispricing for a Willie Mullins superstar that I have seen for many a year. And why? Well, this is a very hot race because we've got Gaelic Warrior, who to my mind has finally come of age over fences, though 3 miles plus at this level on this ground is an unproven doe, while Fact to File is hugely talented, though didn't to me see out 3 miles at Kempton on better ground the last day, which must ask a question, but the mare Spindleberry doesn't seem to know how to lose since being sent chasing and must join my list, and that is just the Willie Mullins entries. Noel Mead's Affordale Fury beat the selection in the Savills Chase here the last day, but Galloping Day Champ does usually need a first run, which was the case then, and I will highlight that stat. So, Galloping Day Champ to make it 8 from 9 over fences at Leopardstown. A remarkable record, with Gaelic Warrior and Spindleberry in the mix, if seeing out the trip. My next best is next up, where another Gigginstown pick is for me for the Barberstown, and that is Jacob's Ladder. Already looking far better over fences than hurdles, this 2-mile one trip is right within his range. So with no concerns over this deep ground and Jack Kennedy aboard, I'll be expecting a big showing for the Cullentra yard that is on for a great weekend. Jacob's Ladder won his beginner's chase at Fairyhouse with a bit in hand over favourite Caroline Bamboo. And from there came second to the smart Kappa Joy Pike in a grade 3. So I do think there's strong enough form in that to be landing this handicap chase from near the top of the weights. Jacob's Ladder to confirm my suspicion that he should be back in grade company when he takes the Barberstown. Earlier on, it's a really fascinating rematch between Monge 2 and Narciso Has for the Grade 1 juvenile hurdle. Now, I'll be betting that Narciso Has is much sharper than when this pair were 1-2 in the Fairyhouse juvenile race at Fairyhouse in November. And Narciso Has did win a Grade 2 the last day here. But this is very different going, which could just tip the scales to Monge 2, who gets a £7 advantage in the weights. There'll be no such concerns for Willie Mullins' second string, the French import Selma de Very, who won with a bit to spare at Orteil before being snapped up to run in the Ritchie Silks. So my guess is it's all about who handles better the conditions for this Grade 1. Monge 2 just edges it for me with Jack Kennedy riding a bit of a wave just now to make the difference. In the Irish Arkle, it is very hard to see any other result than Romeo Coolio winning this, so no guesses where I'm going here. But don't write off Cargies yet, as I did discuss with Jaysella this week in the podcast, as though Willie Mullins' mare has taken a while to get used to things over fences. She's also ran and can make her presence felt if Romeo Coolio isn't at his best on this deep ground. All said, Romeo Coolio is very classy, having always looked like a chaser in the making, and certainly hasn't disappointed in his novice campaign, 3 from 3 this season, so I can see why the price is such that it is a tactical race with only the 3, but it's Romeo Coolio's to lose in my book. For the bumper to finish, both Charismatic Kid and It's Only a Game were impressive winners when we last saw them, but it's Charismatic Kid that I think will act on this ground better. Of course, it again will be who handles the conditions after a week dominated by rain, but Charismatic Kid did seem to go well enough to win from the front at Navan the last day. And with Gordon Elliott having his yard in such good form, I'm of the opinion that the winner's coming from there, with Broadway Ted and Generous Risk both holding each way claims at the least. But it's Charismatic Kid who made all on soft ground at Navan, and this looks a strong line of form for me.